Welcome to another St. Pete by Night production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us from a grave dead tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. We'll never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida, but now spread to the world at large. My name is Kent, also known as Michikent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. And it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa, Florida. And you are here on a very special occasion because we are celebrating our 100th episode of Rage Across Tampa, a feat I wasn't positive we'd ever reach, but here we are on the doorstep, and it is a very special episode because it takes place entirely in the dreaming. But before we get to all of that, go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below, and go sign up for Ko-fi to become a member of our Ko-fi page, where you'll get access to all kinds of behind the scenes material for as low as $5 a month. It really is a value because you're getting the RBT for all three of our programs, as well as sneak peeks. I hear from good authority that a sneak peek dropped today in celebration of our 100th episode, so you could go see what that sneak peek is by becoming a Ko-fi member. You'll only find out if you are a Ko-fi member, so go sign up for that. But let's get to this 100th episode and the matter at hand by introducing the amazing players that make Rage Across Tampa possible. Players, for some of you, the 100th time, go ahead and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Piece of Lint. This is my friend Nori, The Hat. That's Preston, Little Army Man. And that's Nick. He's the Blue M&M and our brave and wonderful Dragon Master Kent. But I'll let them introduce themselves. I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi, I'm Nori, the Hat. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey, as previously stated, I am Preston. I played Jason Dream Decay Thorn, Peerage of the Boner. Man, you have fucked me up.
Howdy do. Howdy do. How are all of you? My name is Maria, the Blue M&M. My name is Nick. I'll be playing Izzy, aka Entwined Smiles with Claws, the Arun child of Gaia. And we're on a bus.
We are truly off to the races at this point. I kind of wish I'd say hi, my people, but you know, anyway, let's get everyone caught up as to where we are right now. Last week, we saw Jace make a final check-in with Moses to see how preparations were coming along for the dismantling of the staff that has contained the spirit of Ishu for what seems like 40 years. Moses told him that he wasn't sure what was going to happen and that he was a little bit nervous about the process, but that he was going to go through with it. And no matter what happened, Jace was not to interfere or stop what was coming because it was what he deserved. We then saw Aspen check in with Charles to see why he was acting so strange recently, and Charles, in a surprising display of vulnerability, talked about the difficulties he was having with everything, as well as with the arrival of Victor Iron Oath Volkov and what he should do next, whether he should return to the seat of power of the Guru Nation to help make changes from within, or if he should reject this invitation summoning and risk whatever consequences come with that. This caused Aspen to have a little bit of a crisis of her own because there are benefits and drawbacks to both. If Charles should leave, what effect will that have on Jester? Will Jester go with him, which leaves the Sept short-handed? There are just too many factors to consider. Then after the break, we saw Jester herself go speak with Anna, Eyes of the Sea Pelfrey, and have a little bit of a Galliard get-together where they talked about stories, but more importantly, they focused on the idea of destiny and fate, an issue that has been occasionally touching upon this pack and Sept from time to time, from the death of Aiden due to a destiny that was fulfilled to the possible destiny of Charles taking up the crown of the Geru Nation and what all of that means. We then saw Izzy meet with Charles for some last-minute advice unexpectedly before heading into the dreaming, and this led to the two of them having a deep conversation where it seems like they've come to a bit of an understanding of one another. Izzy finally getting the emotional connection and respect that he has been hoping for years at this point, but also kind of throwing him off balance a little bit, as it was not what he's ever expected to receive from Charles. And now having to go into the dreaming, what will that mean for their relationship should he return? And then finally, the ritual took place, the ritual that would release Ishu and open the way to the dreaming. What happened next was especially unexpected as the cairn started to actually take part in the ritual itself, warping and manifesting, the energies helping combine together to make this rite possible. And then with an explosion, the staff was destroyed, and seemingly with it, Moses as well, as he disappeared with the explosion of the staff, leaving only the entity known as Ishu in his place. Ishu then opened the way to the dreaming, sending the pack forward, where they seemingly lost consciousness, but when they awoke, they found themselves in the ever-looming forest that was the dreaming, at the feet of a very, very unexpected ally, Ravi, who seems to have returned seemingly from the dead and is there to greet them in the dreaming. So, that all being said, let's pick up where we left off. The transition doesn't feel like stepping sideways. It feels like being misremembered. The world peels back, not like a curtain, but like layers of paint scraped away. Colors bleed, shapes soften, edges lose their certainty. For a moment, you are not entirely sure where your body ends and where your thoughts begin. Your rage stirs and the world reacts. The ground beneath you ripples like disturbed ink. Your breath becomes visible, not as mist, but as words that dissolve before they can be read. When the transition settles, you are somewhere else. Not a place, a feeling pretending to be a place. In front of you stands a man, maybe around 5.5, 6 feet tall, with very, very kind of ethereal dark skin, wearing what looks like a sash over his shoulder, almost a toga-esque feature, with long pointed ears and very almost alien features, very sharp nose and cheekbones. Now, one of you recognizes this individual, having been to the Dreaming before and seen them in their natural form. But to the rest of you, this is a stranger. But as he addresses you with a familiarity that seems unusual and foreign. For this is not Ishu, who you have dealt with previously. Ishu bearing the long pointed hat of red and black. No, this is someone entirely different, but still very comfortable with your presence here in the Dreaming. With all that being said, the scene is yours.
Jason's gonna run up to him and just immediately beelining it for him, and like wraps him up and picks him up and then sets him down, grabs his shoulders, just making sure, like, I'm gonna kill you again and again and again and again.
Why? What do you mean?
Because you're supposed to be dead, and now you're here.
That's news to me.
Do you
Hey, Jason.
What?
You know this guy? Not to rain on another reunion, it seems, but we were told a lot of things might happen in the Dreaming that might draw us off the path.
He'll let go of his shoulders and look back. Yeah. Old friend. Ravi. Everyone.
He waves a long-fingered hand to all of you, almost sheepishly. Welcome to the Dreaming, everyone.
Okay, 2 things. One, what you said earlier to him. And 2, I thought he was blonde and small and much younger. Much younger.
Yeah. Here he'll gesture. Looks like this. The body he inhabited previously was the teenage child.
Perhaps I can explain. My spirit has been reborn many times, in many different shapes and forms, on the place you call home. But this is what I normally look like. This is my true form, here in the Dreaming. It's complicated, I'm sure, and seemingly hard to grasp, but I am here on behalf of my father, Ishu, to be your guide for the journey you wish to take to recover the spirit known as Turtle.
Look,
Now there's...
Jace,
What?
come here. Come here.
He'll look to Ravi for a second and kind of like shuffle a little bit and walk over. Yeah.
Izzy has a point. Are you sure this is him and not a trick?
He'll look back to him. That's fair, but it looks exactly like him. Like,
But he died.
yeah, but one of the things is they can, like you said, they are in this cycle.
So what? They come back here?
I guess.
Is it like a Return to Gaia thing where the rage is blossomed again on a spiritual level? Is that what you're trying to get at here with this Ravi guy, except more personhood?
I guess, yeah. They go through this cycle of life, I guess. Although sometimes they don't remember, but the older you are, there's a chance where you can remember your previous lives.
Okay.
Not always. Where you'll look back towards right. Ravi, do you remember any of us? Do you have any recollection of who we are?
Of course. You were the ones who helped guide me and the refugees and escape the threat of the satyr at Piney Point.
Do you remember dying?
I mean, I've remembered dying many times, but not recently.
Look back to Jace.
Do you still move back and forth? Are you still
Yes.
look at Jester, a young blonde boy?
Yes. I mean, I inhabit that form, but here, obviously not.
Do you
I'm
not
not
remember what happened to you at all?
I remember very clearly what happened. There was a threat looming from the south, a threat that you came to warn us about, over guidance by our father, and you were able to help us gather together and escape in time before any threats arose.
Can I roll an insight to make sure that this is not like an illusion or like this
Absolutely.
is for real? Okay.
Now, I will say, in the dreaming, everything is slightly different as we introduce a new mechanic called Reverie. Reverie is a representation of your connection to the dreaming. It is not a spendable resource, but rather like a status or a reputation. Now, most guru start at a status of 0, Reverie of 0, which means that all insight checks as well as certain other abilities start at a -1 die penalty because of your lack of connection. However, Theurges and Galliards start at a 1 Reverie, which takes away this penalty in the dreaming. So, Aspen, as you make your wits and insight roll, struggling to comprehend, do so at a -1.
Okay. Could I also argue for a resolve and insight roll since all of this is kind of strange and trying to figure out what?
Absolutely.
Okay. That would be 4.
With 4 successes, as you're studying this individual, watching them very carefully, trying to pick at their words and to dig beyond the truth, Ravi is very much here and is very much telling the truth. And as you let his words settle in, all of you feel a strange conflict in your mind as a story begins to write itself in your memory. What he's saying, as he's saying it, you're starting to remember as truth, as fact. But you also remember the reality you lived, you experienced, where Ravi died, where the bunker was destroyed. A conflict in realities has started to occur in your mind, because in one reality, Ishu was never trapped. Ishu, in fact, came to you in a dream, Jace, asking you for your assistance in helping guide his children out of the city. And you remember doing it. But you also remember being too late.
will look to the pack, then back to Ravi. Ravi, that's not what happened, man. The bunker was attacked. A bunch of you died. Some of you were captured and taken. You had a piece of rebar shoved through you.
Well, that sounds unpleasant. But Sarah, I don't recall this at all. Now, the dreaming does have a tendency to play tricks on the mind, and the process can be very confusing, but no, there was no bunker. You came and you sought us out individually and brought us together as a group and sent us away to, what was it? Ohio.
I'll lean
That's
over to Jace. Regardless of which one's the correct one, he believes it. And it is Ravi.
That's not the same though. That's not what happened.
But isn't it?
I-
Why am
I
I
don't-
remembering both?
Eliza looks towards all of you. Yes, she is also here, and she has a slightly confused look on her face, but then a realization crosses as she says, I think I know what might be occurring. With the releasing of the spirit and that paradox that Moses had spoken of, we are living in two realities at the same time. One, where we recall Ishu being trapped and everything that came because of that. And another reality where Ishu was never trapped. Ravi is very much here and very much real, but it's a version from a completely different reality. In that reality, he never died because Ishu was there to assist, was not trapped, was not kept away from his children.
Why do we remember both?
Because in a way, you experienced both. Paradox can only affect so much, and as Guru, we have a certain... We're connected to something different by being connected to Gaia. We remember it because the reality is that it happened. It occurred as it should. Reality has been set correct because the magic never took place, but we experience the other and our brain holds on to these memories. Our mind.
Izzy looks like he's trying to weave a curtain out of straws at these concepts as he goes, okay, okay. So, I don't know this Ravi. Even I'm getting this weird thing in my head. Listen, I don't know what's true or not here. We were told it's going to mess with our heads. What we need to know is where's Turtle and where we're going, right? Can we trust this Ravi to lead us? Whether or not he's real. And are you okay, Jason?
I'll be fine.
Izzy gives a shoulder pat.
Ravi holds a hand to his heart and gives a deep bow. I must apologize. This place can be very confusing, and yes, it will play tricks on your mind if you let it, but there is some very important things that you need to know coming here. As Guru, you rely a great deal on your strength, your power. This place doesn't care how strong you are. It cares if you mean something. You are strangers in a strange land, and in a way, it doesn't want you here. But you can earn your place here by proving your worth, not in conflict and battle, but in purpose and being. I know what it is you seek, and I know how to find it. But our ability to do so, our success in doing so, relies on your certainty of self and what makes you important, what makes you part of the story. You will learn as we go. Just try to harness what makes you Guru as best as possible, for it will do you no good here. If anything, it will tear you away from this place. Because you are not who you are because you are Guru. You are who you are, regardless.
That makes some sense, I think. Izzy looks back to the pack like, is that clear to anyone else?
What's your story? Hold on to what your story is.
Yes. Because there are beings here that will try to take that story from you. This is a place of dreams, and dreams can often turn to nightmares, if not managed correctly. It will unweave the fabric of who you are and your importance if you allow it to. Come. We must move ahead, for time is of the essence, and you must not linger long, lest the fabric start to unravel. And he turns and starts shuffling down what looks to be a standard dirt road in the forest. But this forest is very alien. It almost seems like it breathes as you move, not wind moving through the trees, but almost like the trees are inhaling and exhaling. On the wind, you can hear some of the most ethereal sounds, like the jingling of chimes in the air, whispers on the wind. It's unlike any forest you've been before, and you've seen some strange things at the cairn that you live at. But this is unlike anything like that. And even to you, Jace, the dreaming seems different as opposed to your last experience with it. Whatever changed a lot, and changed it dramatically.
I'm gonna be eyeing the trees and vegetation nervously and kind of just rub my fingers against the bracelet as I'm just vigilantly watching them.
I'm just gonna keep an eye out for anything that sounds significant to Turtle, to this, I believe it was a lake, to a mist, anything that gives us an inkling of where Turtle might be.
Trying to take two stories and line up the facts that were given as they're walking, trying to find the parallels between the two, trying to figure out how this all works.
Roll me a composure and intelligence, Jace.
My rage, I'm still sitting at my 3 carrying over, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Four.
As you're parceling through these two memories that seem to collide with one another, there are some connections that are taking place, some things that are consistent in both stories coming together. You were close to Ravi. You viewed him as someone that you cared for very deeply, someone you felt very protective of. The connection is genuine and real in both stories. What's different truly is the outcome. Ravi never died in this story. Ravi was never caught off guard or surprised. Ishu showed them the way with your assistance. You were never possessed. You never had the staff in this story because the staff never existed. Ishu came to you in your dreams and told you of a dangerous tiding coming and the threat that it posed to his people, and that he needed you to help assemble them and send them on their way. And so you did. And you were successful. It's still scattered. The other elements of that reality having not taken shape, having not clicked into place. And something tells you that it's going to take a long time, or at least some time, to understand what reality truly is at your home. Because if this changed, what else did? As you continue through the forest, along the path, the forest stretches endlessly, but no two trees are the same. Some are made of glass, their leaves chiming softly with every unseen breeze. Others are sketched in charcoal, smudging at the edges as if unfinished. One bleeds sap that drips upward into the sky. The light shifts constantly, golden dusk, pale dawn, deep twilight, all at once. The air smells like rain that hasn't fallen yet, and old stories, and something almost remembered, as if it's just out of reach. When you walk, the ground responds, not to your weight, but to your intent. And somewhere just beneath everything is the sense that this place is watching you try to understand it. Because of the uncertainty you're currently feeling, the ground feels soft, almost hollow underneath, that you have to take the softest of footfalls as you walk for fear that the ground is just going to give way beneath you and collapse. But not collapse in the way quicksand might, but collapse into nothingness. So with that being said, I'd like everyone to make me a dexterity and athletics roll to stay light on their feet, moving carefully along this path.
What are our rages at?
Well, Jace is at a rage 3. I believe the rest of you were at a rage 1 when you came into the dreaming originally.
Yeah.
I remember being put at a rage 3 for the conversation with Charles. I don't know if that went away.
Then I would say your rage 3 persists.
Okay.
Actually, we can split the difference, make it a rage 2, because the conversation with Charles did go well. So I think some of that rage has subsisted. Okay, so 2 successes for Jace, 2 successes for Jester, 2 for Izzy. How many for you, Aspen?
Big fat 0.
Okay. So as you are walking, feeling this ground almost breaking away beneath your feet with each step, the 3 of you are able to stay light enough on your feet to continue forward. Aspen, however, is not as lucky, and the ground starts to almost give way beneath her. But in a flash of motion, Ravi is there to grab her by the wrist and pull her out of this sinkhole that seems to be forming. Be certain. Be strong. Don't try to understand this place. Try to let this place understand you. And Aspen, you find your footing once more. Roll me a composure and resolve check.
Four.
With that extra bolstering, you feel yourself become a little bit more certain, a little bit more headstrong, a little less worried about making all this make sense, because it's not going to, clearly. This is alien, this is foreign, and above all else, for you, in your hopes, this is temporary, and you will get back to where you belong. As you look over your shoulder behind you to the ground that had given way, beneath that ground, all you see is a pool of ink where the ground once was, as if it was an ink pot that you were stepping into. And something tells you that had you fallen into that ink pot, your story might have been unwritten. As you continue forward, you feel your varying connections to the place become more clear. Jester and Jace, you feel a stronger connection to this place than you thought you would. Something about this place is fantastical, yes, but not entirely unfamiliar. Jace, as someone who dreams in decay, the concept of dreams is not foreign to you. Dreams are a manifestation of our inner thoughts and feelings, our fears, our joys, our successes, our failures. So to walk through a dream is to accept the fact that things aren't going to be entirely tangible, that not everything is going to make sense until you find the root of it, the cause of it. What is it really trying to say? What is it trying to represent or tell you? Jester, you're a storyteller, and you've heard stories of strange and fantastical things. You've read books of fantasy settings and marvelous and strange existences and beings. The dreaming, as it seems to you, is just a story told by many, many, many authors. A story taken shape into this semi-reality. But where do you fit in that story? What character are you in the story? Because you are a stranger in a strange land. A visitor to a place that you don't belong and haven't belonged since you were a child. And truthfully, for you, that childhood was far more real than it should have been because of the struggles that you faced and the difficulties that you encountered. You were too grounded in reality to truly ever belong to a place like this. If you visited, maybe it was in times of need for an escape or stress, not because of the joy and wonder and innocence that comes from childhood. But understanding all of that, your foundation grows a little bit more firm, a little bit more certain. So what I'm going to ask the four of you individually is, what is your intention as you walk this path? Now, Aspen, you were pretty clear in your intention. You are trying to recognize and find anything having to do with Turtle, any signs of Turtle, the direction to go to get to Turtle. But what about the rest of you? Jester.
My shoulders, which have been kind of tense and stiff, will start to just relax a little as I continue to walk and get a feel for the place. And now it's more curiosity. I'm not sure what my part in is the story, but I'm not sure what the story is. So I'm hoping to find out more on that. So kind of the fear I'd carried in with me is now slowly dissipating and being replaced with curiosity.
Okay. Jace.
He's walking relatively comfortable in here, but with every dream he has, there's usually a lesson to be had or a warning or something along those lines. So he's waiting for that, anticipating what is going to be upcoming, something that needs to be heard that might be missed. So he's trying to keep an eye out for anything that might be overlooked, that the underlining area here is trying to warn about the road ahead.
Okay. Izzy.
When the pack first arrived in the dreaming, Izzy's intent was purely defensive. He saw a person he didn't recognize, he saw Jason run forward, and so he immediately was like, I need to protect everyone here. But as the journey's begun, the first steps are wobbly and uncertain. That defense has moved to one very similar to Jester of like, if not outright curiosity, at least introspection, as his intent is to figure out what is going on here. Because for a Garu like him, he is not the most erudite. He does not have that level of introspection. He's very much firing from the hip a lot of times. And yet, with the wonders and the colors, these strange talks of theming and stories, the one intent here, just a flash outside of his mission, is, I wonder if Unicorn comes here.
As you're having these thoughts, taking a somewhat defensive but also curious posture, looking towards the trees, they almost look like they become claws reaching towards you. Now, you had been told to not stray from the path, for that's where you would truly be lost. And as these trees seemingly reach towards you, make me a composure and resolve check.
One.
Okay. You start to fear, or start to feel that kind of rage bubble up inside of you a little bit more as you feel the looming concept of threat starting to impose its way upon you and your pack, as if danger is approaching. Now what I'd like you to do is roll me both of your rage dice and tell me what you get on them.
Duality, a 1 and a 10.
Okay. So, the 1 and the 10 will cancel each other out, meaning that your reverie will stay the same. You are at a strong 0. But Aspen, because of your 4 successes on composure and resolve, the acceptance of the foreign nature of this place is strong enough to raise your reverie to a 1. You feel a little bit more connected, a little bit more certain that this place isn't going to make sense, but you do. In front of you, the road, seemingly out of nowhere, breaks into several different paths. Because all of you have different intentions in this moment, the direction becomes less clear, less obvious. You hit a fork in the road that heads 3 different directions, and then there's the path going behind you, each direction seemingly representing a different intention in this moment. Because all of you want something different from this place right now. You're not all focused on a singular objective, even though the objective was made clear, the purpose of being here was made clear. It's starting to become a little less certain as your focus starts to drift, as you start to get caught up in the features of this place. So as you reach the fork in the road, Ravi looks to all of you and says, "You are writing a new story, but you are 4 different authors with 4 different objectives. Until you can all get on the same page, we will wander endlessly to find the next place we must go."
So we just have to say it? Gotta find Turtle.
No.
No? No. Okay.
If it were that simple, then I'm sure we would already be there.
What are you guys looking for?
Like right now? Or... I
Here.
mean... I don't even know what. Still feels a bit strange and definitely not safe, so I'm trying to keep everyone's safety in mind. What about the rest of you?
There's a pattern. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me all the way, but there's a pattern. It's thoughts and intentions. So what are your intentions?
Oh. I think I get it. Sorry, I was trying to figure out the story we were in and my place in it. This place is weird and was trying to figure it out. I need to focus.
Trying to find a lesson here. That I kind of fell into an old habit when in my dreams there's usually a lesson or something behind it, so I started following that.
Can I look at each path and see kind of what's down each of them?
Sure. So roll me a wits and awareness.
Two.
Looking down the varying paths, the one that seems to go straight ahead actually comes to a dead end at a copse of these strange and unfamiliar trees that seem to block the road. Another path seems to head into a clearing where the trees separate with winding hills and unfamiliar environments. The trees stop and pull back, and on one hillscape you see what looks to be a castle made of stone grown out of the ground. Behind you lies shadow, darkness, as if everything evaporates when you head that way, as if you're trying to escape the dream, trying to dismiss the idea of all of this. And then another path just continues onward through the forest, winding and coiling, disappearing from sight as it twists into the trees.
So what are we looking for again?
Turtle.
Trying to get to Turtle.
I'm going to try to mentally fix it, and I think I know how. So I was looking for my role in the story and what the story was. The story is of these 5 Garu on this path to find Turtle. Like that is the story, is of finding Turtle. And my role is to help Jace in finding Turtle.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you each a question, and I want you to answer it as honest to your character as possible. Why is this important? Why are you bothering? Why are you doing this? Aspen, we'll start with you.
To her, it's not the whimsy or the esoteric of bringing back a lost spirit and bringing back a whole tribe. It is the weight of responsibility of building a new nation and what this could mean for the Guru culture and the new nation and how it could build them back together. And also desperately wanting to get in and out as quickly as possible because there are threats looming, and I'm not there to protect the cairn and the rest of the sept right now. So I just want to get in and get them. There will be goals and rewards later, but I need to get back to protect my sept.
Jester.
Gaia's dying. The world is dying. Bringing back Turtle, like bringing back White Bat, is, in my mind, helping Gaia. Bringing more allies back, bringing hope back, that not all is lost.
Jace.
For him, it's someone that's been lost for a long time, and it's someone who did a lot to stop a great and powerful evil from moving forward. And he would do it for almost anyone that's lost. He would try and find them and bring them back home. And Turtle is very lost and trapped where they're at. And he made a promise that he would do what he can to get them out to Turtle. And so he's going to fulfill his promise.
Okay. Izzy.
On the surface, Izzy's intent flicks with the wind. At times, it's the grand narrative of protecting Gaia or some deep-seated part of his history that motivates him to do this. And yet, the deeper and deeper into that reasoning, he truly believes that he does not have the necessary strength and skill to do it alone, or to even understand what he's doing. And that the people next to him right now need him. And that is the reason he is here.
Okay. So I am going to ask for a variety of roles tailored specifically to your varying intentions in this moment. Aspen, I need a charisma and leadership. Beauty does not count. Favor does not count.
And I don't have the penalty anymore.
You do not have the penalty anymore. You've gained a little bit more solid feeling. Jester, I need an intelligence and performance. Jace, I need an intelligence and occult. And Izzy, I need a wits and survival.
Does my storytelling specialty count?
Very much so.
Okay.
Can willpower be rolled?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
That is a brutal outcome.
Eh.
Five with a crit.
Okay. Jester got 3. Jace got 6. Is that 6 I'm seeing?
That is 6.
Okay. And Izzy got a brutal outcome.
Hey, Kent,
Mm-hmm.
my reroll I have from years back, can I give that to him to just give it away so he can use it?
Yeah.
You can use it whenever you want, but I'm going to give that to you if you want to use it for this one.
This will allow you to reroll your entire pool if you choose to.
I will choose to, because they were all ones. So. Okay, it's not a brutal. 1 success.
Okay. Aspen, your need to lead, to accomplish an objective, is enough of an intention to show you the way through this, to show you the way to the next step. Your heart is in the place of getting back, getting home, which theoretically you could supposedly do at any time. But in this moment, you know you can't go home until you've done this. Jester, there's some delight that comes to you from this concept, as if this is something that you have been chasing after for so long, but have been unable to do because you've been so shackled to the reality of everything. To the abuse you experienced as a child, to the loss of a love, to the loss of friends. And now the looming concept of the loss, Charles, to this crown. But because you are a storyteller and because this is fantasy, you understand fundamentally what the purpose of this place is. That it's not going to be a matter of combating your way through challenges. It's going to be writing the outcome, coming up with the story that leads to the goal, to the ending. And your desire for a happy ending overwhelms your belief that all of this is pointless, that it's a battle that can't be won. That maybe, just maybe, this might be the most important thing that you've done in the war for Gaia. Because, transitioning to Jace, Turtle has more than one purpose. Yes, Turtle was a representation of the Croatan. Yes, they were a patron spirit. But Turtle is also a representation of the Earth itself. It is the embodiment of Earth. The Gale Stalkers being the wind, the Ghost Council being the water. Turtle is Earth. And just like the Triad, missing one of those is causing the others to lose purpose and meaning. So what you aren't fighting for here, you aren't fighting for a singular spirit, but more than that, the concept of stability, the concept of sturdy ground, the concept of Earth. Izzy, As you try to find some sort of purpose or focus, everything becomes a little bit blurrier. And as you all look, Izzy himself becomes a little bit blurrier. His edges become a little less defined. He starts to become almost hazy, like a flickering image that is starting to almost evaporate in front of you. At this point, Ravi looks towards Izzy and saying, he is losing the narrative, rejecting it inherently. And if he continues to do so, he will be lost. Now, with your massive amount of successes on the occult roll, Jace, I am going to tell you how you can resolve a situation like this, how you can restabilize. You can invoke the memory of a touchstone. Another character can intervene by bringing them back to the present, convincing them of purpose, giving them the narrative effectively. Or the whole narrative can shift. You can shift to either match him in his narrative, or you can shift the purpose of why you're all here.
Seeing the haze on him, walk up to Izzy. Hey, you remember back in the echoing roots, going through the Umbra there? Remember those times?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Jason,
Okay.
what are you doing here?
So let me... Walking around with Kat. Do you remember going on those fun little adventures, those walks, learning about the Umbra, and then the weird things that dwell within?
Well,
And
she talked at me about the Umbra.
well,
I don't know
that's
if
fair.
I learned anything.
Well, I'm sure you learned some. You are an elder now, right? You're a big old man.
Yeah, I guess. I hate it. Don't ask me questions about the Umbra. Sorry, I just felt out of sorts there. What are we doing?
So this place that we're in, the purpose of going through the Umbra was to get the knowledge, understand it. Purpose here is we need to restore balance back home. Right?
Right.
So your job, Mr. Big Macho Guy, is to make sure that things like that happen, right? That the mission gets completed.
Yeah.
So just like you did for us back then, need you to do that now. Then focus on that. Thus moving forward, restoring the things that we've lost. And you'll look to the pack, making sure that everyone here gets in and out.
First in, last out.
I think we're all jumping at the same time on this one, but yes.
With the mention of Cat, what do you think of, Izzy? What is your fondest thought? What's the first thought that springs to mind when you think of the Theurge Cat from back home?
Of the primary pack for the Echoing Roots, I think Cat might have been like the third pack member he had the most experience with. But even in that sort of like nested memory of his early days as a Garu before he was assigned to the Piercing Moonrise Pack and basically left the cairn behind, he does recall like a lot of what Jason described, sort of like an attempt to impart, to educate. And looking back on that memory, Izzy does feel a bit of shame, you know, being a slacker in class, kind of. But as that memory returns, there is a warmth of like, even if I maybe didn't necessarily retain as much as I should have, that effort to educate him did more to instill a sense of self within his own Garu-ness than if no one had tried at all.
Jace, I'd like you to roll charisma and insight plus your reverie. So you gain an additional die from your reverie.
Spend a will.
Okay.
Two.
Okay. Izzy, I'd like you to roll me a composure and resolve. You can take an additional die from Jace's assistance in this matter.
Well, that is unfortunately another brutal.
Okay.
I don't know if the verbs and adverbs might.
Yeah, tell me what you got.
So, as a child of unicorn and an Arun, my adverbs are bluntly, courageously, relentlessly, and discern, discover, heal.
I will say in this particular instance, courageously heal will apply. So the almost foggy edges, the blurry edges of Izzy come into a more sharp relief once more, restoring to themselves as he takes his physical form once more. As emboldened by purpose, he snaps back to the present situation. Not drifting, not falling, not losing the narrative. Izzy, your purpose here is to, yes, find Turtle. But to do so, you must protect the Seekers. As that happens, two of the paths dissipate. One of them going towards the castle is covered once more by trees. The other, going further into the forest, twisting and getting lost in the trees, dissipates. And Jester and Jace, you know that had you taken that right path, you would have found yourself right back here again, and again, and again. That was the path of going over and over, repeating the same action again and again and again. The only path that remains is the path forward that dead ends at the trees. As you look somewhat confused towards the path forward, the dead end, the path changes. A clearing opens, though you don't remember walking into it. They are already there. Figures of impossible variety. A knight with no face beneath their helm. A fox wearing a crown too large for its head. A child made of candlelight, flickering with each breath. They sit, stand, drift, watching, waiting. A slow, scattered applause begins as you arrive, not welcoming, not mocking, evaluating. One leans forward, tall, thin, draped in pages that rewrite themselves as you look.
The old stories come to argue. They still matter.
It says softly. The applause stops. The silence that follows is heavier than any roar. Ravi knows them and steps forward casually. Careful, he mutters to you. This lot feeds on bad performances. He then says louder, don't mind them. Half of these stories were terrible the first time around. A few in the court hiss. One laughs. The tension shifts. In this moment, I need all of you individually to tell me why Turtle still matters. Why they're important. They've been gone all this time. What does it matter? Let them be forgotten. They already have been by most of the world. Why are they important? Why are they worth seeking? Whoever wishes to go first may do so.
The aspen turtle is important because it's a beacon of hope for the future.
Don't tell me, tell them.
Okay. Then she will step forward, very uncomfortable, not enjoying the idea of people potentially eating bad performances. But she'll step forward and she'll look back at Jester. Turtle is hope for a future. Turtle is something that could bring all of us together. An idea that the old, the broken, can be fixed, can be brought back, and become something better, and thrive again. It's what's needed to remind people that the fight is important and we're all important to each other.
Why Turtle? Why not you? Why not your nation? Why not your king?
That would be one person, one guru. This is a whole idea. An entire tribe, maybe, if done correctly.
That tribe made their choice. You would seek to undo what they've done?
I would seek to give them another chance. We've, and she'll look back at Jester, have done terrible things. Our kind. And I hope that our actions show that we can change and have a second chance.
Give me a charisma and persuasion. Because of your success on the last roll, your reverie has raised to 1, so you may add your reverie to this roll. Beauty does not matter. Favor does not matter.
Five.
crowd, scattered applause breaks out amongst the crowd as others watch with discernment, not entirely convinced, but enough to move on from you as they look next to Jester. And one of them calls out,
A singer. Sing us a song of the importance of this tale, if you can.
I'll step forward.
So at this moment, they are using a ability known as Demand Performance, which requires you to make a charisma and performance roll. If you fail, it will be a -2 dice to your next action.
Okay. I'm gonna sing. I don't have a particular song, so it's more Jester riffing off like just the thoughts in our head and kind of coming up with like a song or a poem a bit. But it's gonna be about a world cold and lonely, missing something it had forgotten that it had even had. And this forgotten thing is important because the world has suffered without it, and bringing it back will wake up a lot of people and make them remember the inspiration that they have been missing.
Okay.
And you said it was charisma and what?
Charisma and performance. And you can add your 1 reverie to this as well.
And my singing specialty?
Yeah.
Or storytelling?
Either one would work. This
Okay.
depends on which method you wish to take to perform.
Well, he said sing, so I'm going to sing. Six with a crit.
Okay. As your song finishes, the last notes of it dying off, again, applause breaks out amidst the crowd. You may gain 1 reverie as they take in your performance. They then look towards Jace and they say,
You have been here before. You have sought this goal for a long time. But you have also been distracted more than once. Your mind has wandered. That those you've lost, or perhaps never had. Are you resolute in your purpose, in your goal, in your mission? And can you really trust those you walk with?
they are now using an ability called Turn the Crowd. And as you look to your companions, regardless of what they are doing, regardless of what they are feeling, they seem to be looking at you, judging you. I'd like you to respond in kind to the crowd, and then I want you to make a composure and resolve check. However, because you have your companions seemingly working against you in this instance, You will do so at a -2 dice.
He'll look to all of his pack, kind of perplexed, and then walk out to the center. I understand that the purpose of this is some form of entertainment, and it's hard to follow up the two that have already gone. But to your initial questioning, my determination is ironclad. The reason on why I'm here is to move forward and keep a promise. Yes, I have lost a lot. And now I have these new memories of things that I haven't lost, which gives me some form of happiness. But my reality is still fixed. It's still there. But if anything, it drives me further.
What about the wall of stone? What about the fallen friends? What about the lost? How does this help them?
Their fight, everything that they put forth, getting to their end, in a way propels every guru forward. Everyone that falls, we all fight because they have fallen. And I have lost an entire pack, so I have a lot of strong foundation I get to be on. So yes, that wall that's there, it's turned, and is now what I stand upon.
Okay, go ahead and make the conviction or the the composure and resolve check.
I still have there was a two-part, right? I still have to tell them why I trust the pack I'm with.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wouldn't miss it.
No, go for it.
He'll stop and he'll turn. And as far as the ones that I walk with, he'll walk towards Aspen, who's scowling at him. This person has given me a lot of care and heartburn in the past, but she is someone that I know I can trust in any dire circumstance. And if I were to ask her to do anything, she would follow through with it. She barely knew me, and she assisted in aid on something I was lacking. And that goes for my entire pack. Anywhere that I'm lacking, everyone steps up. And he'll walk towards Jester. Jester is one of the few people I know that I can be completely honest with, and I will get honest responses with. And the fact that I can be honest with someone it's huge. And I take what she says to heart, because I know she's coming from a good place. And it may be harsh, and that goes for, look back towards Aspen as well. Walk over towards Izzy. This guy I've known for a long time. And most recently, we took on some namers. Well, namer, but we had to go run in an infinite library constantly to chase someone. He came with me to a place that another unknown, to unknown dangers, and I'd want him at my back in any upcoming fight. Walk over towards Eliza. And this wonderful lady has given me more love than I've received in my entire life. She's given me wisdom. She's aided in purpose. Those people you brought up about the lost, she helped me get through that. They all did that. So as far as trust goes, I would trust them with every fiber of my being. And I hope that story satisfies all of you.
If you were to lose them, would you carry on?
To honor them, I would.
I'm going to shift your roll to intelligence and resolve, because you know these people so well. You've learned so much about them. We're going to see how strongly you believe in these things.
It's a -2, correct?
Yes, but you can add
Am I
your reverie to it. And actually, I will say your reverie is at a 2 because of your critical on the occult roll.
Okay. That's 5.
Throughout the crowd, you hear of like revelation, realization. There is again a scattering of applause throughout, and some of those that had their arms crossed and in judgment, those arms have kind of gone slack and fallen to their sides. And then they look to Izzy.
Worst for last, huh?
For so long, anger has guided you. It has been your driving force, your fuel. It's all that kept you alive. Yet as that anger dissipates, is there anything left to move on? Have you lost yourself to that anger? Has it defined you for so long that without it, you are nothing? Do you even know who Isidoro Darris is anymore?
You know, if you were to have asked me a little while ago, I probably wouldn't have an answer for you. Crowd, hey, my name's Izzy. Anger defines a lot about me. It's motivated me. Kept me alive, as you said. That I cannot deny. But to say that there would be nothing left, I am offended, sir and or madam. If you have words about that, I'll be happy to share with you the depths of my rage. But I am also very open to chatting with you at length about why life has found such wonderful meaning to me now.
Ravi leans closer to you, Izzy, and says, "Careful, or else you'll see the hook beyond the bait."
Right. Unfortunately, I'm not good with word games. So
At this point, the crowd speaks, that ethereal echoing voice saying,
You were prepared to end the story. Don't tell us that there was nothing left, or that there was anything left. What changed?
other people. I'd been alone for so long. You just find that every day it's the same thing. You feel that weight dig at your heart. Your thoughts revolve around the same things, the same memories, the same pain. And then you meet a young kid who tells you to remember why you do what you do. You meet a bunch of weirdos in a pack in a godforsaken state that remind you that You're strong. Your rage isn't all there is. You have a way to build bridges as much as tear them down. Even a bunch of humans, like having someone tell you that you have something to teach others definitely puts a whole stop on that. There's nothing left. And then being here right now, looking out at a bunch of crowds. I don't know if you're waiting for me to fall, but... well, I know I've been told not to bait you, but I'm called Entwined Smiles with Claws, and I'll let you decide which we're going to be walking away with today.
Izzy, I would like you to roll a strength and resolve.
Ooh. That is 4.
Okay. The crowd then looks towards Eliza.
The past, the present. You are in conflict. For you do not see a future. You see it for others, but not yourself. If your story is to end, why not let it end here? Why not allow it all to be forgotten? Become nothingness. For with that end, there is no pain. There is no guilt. There is no regret. There is just blissful nothingness. Why not spare them the hurt that's coming? Why not just let go?
Eliza looks away from the crowd down towards the ground. Subconsciously, she starts wringing her hands, rubbing them in front of her. I have done many things in my life, but never has it ever been out of a sense of self-importance. Never has it been for glory or renown or reputation. Whether I'm remembered or not doesn't really matter, because I stand by what I've done. I stand by the choices I've made. And I will stand by the choice yet to come. While I do not know what will happen, that is the beauty of the future, is that it is a story to be written, not a story already written. So, assembly, I tell you not to presume you know the ending of my story. Because until a decision is made, until that fate is met, I will carry on. I will assist. I will guide. In this moment, as Eliza speaks, as the audience taunts, what is going through your minds? Aspen.
I'm gonna need. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jester.
I'm gonna need to have a long conversation with Eliza after this, but for now, I need to focus on the story we are currently telling and getting to Turtle. If we focus on what Eliza said, we're gonna get lost. So I'm gonna just take it, compartmentalize that I need to have a talk with her later about what she said or what was said.
Give me a wits and resolve and reverie.
I got 4 successes.
This attempt to distract, this attempt to change focus fails for you, Jester. Even if momentarily you found your thoughts drifting, you were able to pull them back in to the target, to the goal at hand, allowing whatever feelings might rise up from what was said to be shoved down and put away. But you've often been good at that when you've needed to. When you've had a goal and a purpose. And this is just another such example of that. Aspen.
Aspen is quite the opposite. She is running in her head, what is this ending that she's talking about, that they're talking about? What did I miss? What is happening? Like, is she okay? So it's just going. She's trying to figure it all out in her head.
I'd like you to give me a wits and resolve and reverie. However, because you are allowing yourself to become distracted, give it at a -2.
One.
Okay. You will lose your point of reverie as you become distracted, as everything starts to become less focused, less clear, as your mind races on thoughts of the other, the outside, the consequences, what could be happening, what could they be talking about, someone who always needs to be in the know, someone who always has to be ahead, someone who logics everything. Where is the logic in what she said? What does she mean? You don't have enough information. You need it. So your connection weakens to the dreaming. Your grasp on where you're going, what you're focused on, what your purpose here is, becomes lessened. All that confusion tangling up in your mind. Jace.
Jason and Eliza have had their jokes about like her being old and coming to an end, and usually he just kicks it off to the side, makes a joke about it, but this one sounds different. There's something that she's keeping, and there's that itch that he has on someone having something that this secret. I'm like, what's going on? This is not her normal tone. There's something else going on here. And he's now trying to figure out past conversations, trying to weed out what that secret could be.
I'd like you to give me a wits and resolve as well at a -2.
Maybe balance because of my reverie too?
Oh, yes. Yeah. You just lose your reverie in that roll then. Just roll your wits and resolve then. Yeah.
My rage still the same throughout all this, still sitting at 3? Okay.
Yep.
Three.
While your mind wants to go there, while it wants to dig up the past, to dig up every conversation, to analyze, you know that's the test. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to change the narrative. They're trying to change the story, and you can't allow that to happen. You know, based off of that previous occult rule, that everything here is trying to show you how unimportant this task is. To show you that Turtle isn't a priority for you. Everything else is. To give up this story and let Turtle be forgotten. So as that all comes flooding back to you, you sharpen your focus once more. You know you can deal with that after. You know you can figure that out. But without accomplishing this, it won't even matter what that is. It won't even matter that ending. So your reverie can stay the same. And Izzy.
Izzy's sort of the wild man out. Just, he does not have as close of a relationship with Eliza as the rest of the pack. He is not as aware of her history, and so he probably catches on that, like, oh, she's saying something of import, but a lot of the minutia is just sort of gone from his analysis as he hears this, you know, grand end, this final choice as like, oh, obviously, Agaro would make a terminal choice, especially with advanced age and the protection of Gaia. And so he's kind of just like supportive of her, but unaware of the implication.
Yeah. So I'd like you to make a wits and resolve as well. However, I'm going to give you a bonus 2 dice because of the lack of import to you about this.
Ooh. That is 3.
Huh. I'm going to allow you to gain 1 reverie because this won't shake you. This won't get to you. Your focus was never questioned to begin with. Not going to distract you. You're not going to fall down the hole of what she's talking about or who she is. At this point, the crowd in unison begins to applaud and clap. And what started off as a faint, echoing overture becomes or rises to a cacophonous roar. And as it does so, the ground begins to crack and break apart. And before you know it, you're falling. And this is where we'll go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaboration with our partnered vendors, Chromatic Creations, Panchi Artista, Ember Fox Dice, Champs Tramps, and Howl and Hop Tea. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpetebynight.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our programs, you can do so at ko-fi.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling. Welcome back. As we return, we find our pack falling. But it's not really falling. It's almost as if the ground gave way without warning. Not violently, just inevitably. You sink slowly into a mire that isn't mud, but something softer, warmer, familiar. It clings to you, not your body, but your thoughts. Memories begin to surface unbidden. A face you should recognize but can't quite place. A name on the tip of your tongue that slips away. A promise you know you made to someone sometime. The deeper you go, the quieter everything becomes. Even your rage feels distant here. Muted. Like it's being remembered by someone else. This is where Ravi becomes serious. They don't step into the mire immediately, standing on the edges of this slowly sinking ground. They say to you quietly, "This place doesn't take your memories." Then pauses before saying, "It convinces you they were never important." That being said, let's go ahead and start with a composure and resolve check. And yes, you can add your reverie.
Mine's still at 2, correct?
Yes.
Do I have a negative or am I just even?
You'd just be even. Because you were at 1 before and then you went to 0. Okay. 3 successes, 4 successes, 3 successes, and what was that again? Is E4? Okay. As you are sinking, feeling like everything that was in sharp clarity is growing a little bit more hazy, but you're still holding on to it. Ravi looks to you and says, "What do you refuse to forget?" One by one, I'd like you all to answer.
Aspen, kind of looking around, trying to find ground. A little off guard, but she just whispers, but in a stern whisper, "Artie."
Jester.
Everything. My memories are mine. They all matter.
Okay. Jace.
He's going through all these different things, trying to weigh the options, but he defaults back to one of the happiest places he has, and that's the Split Helm. It's the place that he found ground in Tampa.
Izzy.
As Izzy rolls, grasping through the dark, he'll go to his prized comfort memory. That time where he and there's nothing there.
Like everyone to make me another composure and resolve check.
Still add reverie.
Yes, to add reverie, yes. Okay. As the mire continues to grab hold, Eliza calls out, "Orion, in response. While there's that continued haze, Aspen, you draw the memory, the image, the lasting impression of Artie into your mind, and it remains in stark clarity right in front of you. Jester, your mind is going through memories, rapid fire, everything, every experience, everything that you've been through. And while there's a haze at the edges, your life flashing before your eyes, you can recall it. It's still there. You're holding on to it, trying to grasp every little bit, maybe to the point that you don't even know what you could be skipping, what you could be missing, what you could be forgetting. But you're pretty confident you have a hold. Jace, your bar. The stools, the barrels, the view of the bay. And Moses in the kitchen cooking? Yeah, of course. You hired him to cook. You hired him to be there and be the cook at your restaurant after meeting him at the boardwalk and having a nice chat. Izzy. That haze grows ever further. What was the name of the pack you were assigned to? Can't grasp it. It's not coming to you. It's as if you hear it in inaudible murmurs when anyone says it. It just becomes less tangible. Ravi asks again, what else? Aspen, starting with you.
While this is happening, Aspen is just thinking of all of the moments with Artie when she first met him and he drove her back and she thought he was a serial killer, and when they had their really bad moment and he left her, but he came back, he always came back, and sitting on his lap playing video games. All of those memories just keep going through her head, and she refuses to kind of leave that for anything else. She's just holding on to it like death's grip. So she just says Artie again and just replays all of those memories over and over and over.
Okay. Jester.
As I'm grasping on to all of the memories and everything that make up who I am, and to me they all matter, I will focus down on the bracelet and I'll focus on those memories with Charles, and I'll be like, Charles.
Jace.
Thinking about another memory, something he doesn't want to forget. He's going through his past year on everything that he's been through. And yes, there's been this building as far as consistency, but he's also had this pack. So he's going to shout out all of you. I don't want to forget any of you.
Your mind clarifies, switching from the bar to the cairn. Izzy,
having grasped for the one memory he gave up, finds his hand falling through that hole as he begins struggling and reaching for another, this time a bit forward in time, as it is some time well after Charles appeared and assumed leadership of the Piercing Moonrise Pack, and at a campsite on a mission some months later.
I'm sorry, the what pack?
Oh, exactly.
That pack you were assigned to.
He remembers being happy with that pack, that that thing, those people.
Like everyone to make yet another composure and resolve check, but Izzy, because you failed the last one, you're at a -1.
Okay.
Aspen, you've felt joy at points in your life. Joy of having Shannon as a second mother, even though your real mother was far too busy trying to keep things afloat. But she was there. Shannon was there. You had Hots. Though that story didn't end the way you'd wish, there's still joy to be held there. And then you have Artie, your anchor, your rock. You feel warm and comfortable sitting on his lap, your head leaned against his shoulder. Even if the rest of the world were just to fade away, drift away, there's something that just makes that seem okay. You get to be here, if you get to be in this moment, if this is where you were to stay forever, you'd be happy to stay with and as you go to look up to the face of the man who's supposed to be unforgettable, his features start to blur and soften. It's not quite as clear as it was, but it still feels safe. It still feels comfortable, but why? Jester. Charles. A rock with an unknown softness beneath. An adult with no childhood, but with a love as passionate, ferocious, and fierce as any wild animal. This is stability. This is safety. A safety you haven't felt most of your life. A safety you thought you felt with Leonard? Louis? Lapis Lazuli? Who was it? Jace. You see the pack. You see it clearly. Gathered around the campfire, roaring, tall and strong. You can use that because that is home. Tampa is home. Florida is home. Has it always been home? Has there been anywhere else? The security and safety of this place, the camaraderie amongst these people. That's all you need, right? Whatever came before doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything. Does it? Izzy. Oh, Izzy. While the others are clinging and struggling and forcing themselves to hold on to the things that they hold dear, it just continues to slip away, little by little. Charles, the pack, that doesn't matter. The pack. Why aren't you still with them? Why aren't you? What broke it apart? What happened? What was that? At this point, Aspen, Jester, and Jace, you feel yourself taking a big, deep breath in as you pull yourselves to the surface. Those memories that were growing hazy, snapping into sharp clarity once more. You will not give them up to the mire. You will not let the dreaming take your identity, your memory, everything that came before, everything that defined who you are. Everything that made this moment so important. This fight so important. These people, these guru, so important. And as you claw to the surface, Ravi helping each of you one by one out of the mire, you look back. You don't see Eliza. You don't see Izzy. Izzy, I need you to make me another composure and resolve check, this time at a -2. And yes, reverie still counts.
I'm gonna look at Ravi. Can they hear us in that?
Maybe. But the call has to be strong, and it has to mean something. Or else they'll continue to forget.
Okay, how do you aid people again?
So there are a couple of possibilities. One, you can try to call to them with a story. Two, you could spend a reverie, meaning you are giving up one of your reverie to help anchor them and pull them back.
Okay.
Or you could change the narrative. For the three of you on the shore, what do you wish to do? You're out of the mire, your memories not forgotten, not lost. Your purpose still very much clear.
Aspen is going to fall looking into the emptiness and just close her eyes. And the pattern is thoughts and intentions and stories. So she's just going to, in her head, as hard as she can, think of all 5 of them back on the path. Just walking, trying to get to Turtle. And she's just going to keep visualizing that.
Okay, give me a resolve and leadership roll. Jester.
All right, she's changing the narrative. So I'm going to, because I don't want my narrative, me trying to change it, contest with hers. So I think I'm going to call out to both of them. More like, yeah, I'm gonna call out to both of them. If you can hear me, follow my voice. Remember, you need to remember what we're doing here. We need to find Turtle. Your pack needs you. We need you.
Okay. Give me a charisma and persuasion. No, actually, let's make it charisma and leadership, as you were trying to instruct them on what to do, not convince them.
Okay.
Jace.
While they're both trying to guide them, he's standing on the shore, like almost like a watchtower, waiting for something to breach out of it. And if he needs to, reach down and try pulling them out. But right now he's just sitting and waiting for some type of ripple, an area where they're showing where they're at.
Okay. Give me a unspent willpower check. So whatever willpower you haven't used, roll dice for.
Still use rage dice in that roll, right?
No.
No? Okay.
Nope, this is just straight dice.
Three.
Okay. You can stay on the shore, preventing yourself from diving in to try and find them, more specifically Eliza. Okay. Aspen, what did you get?
I spent a willpower, and I got 6 with a crit.
Okay. The narrative remains intact. Your purpose remains intact. Jester.
I got 4 successes.
Okay. Izzy, as you continue to sink, you remember, you recall. Right, okay. He left, and everything started to go sideways. The inciting incident is escaping you, but you remember just how hurt you felt, how abandoned you felt. But it's not really that way anymore, is it? At least it's changing. It's turning. Maybe he's making up for it. Maybe he did care. And you start to hear this murmur amidst the memories that have wrapped you like a blanket, as if a voice pierces through this shroud around you, calling to you, guiding you, telling you to follow. You see a light breaking the surface above you. You just need to climb, you need to crawl, you need to pull yourself out of this. This is quicksand. It's the coziness is a myth. It's an illusion. It's not right. So, I'd like you to make me a strength and athletics roll. Actually, let's make it
Endurance
strength and
supply.
resolve. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's
Because
fine.
this is all kind of in your head anyway, so.
Is that -2 still in
It is
effect?
still -2, yes.
Okay. So technically -1 because my resolve is 1.
Correct.
Revelry or the
Reverie is 1, yes.
Reverie. Three.
As a hand breaks the surface, reaching outward, a large, masculine, muscular hand coming out, exposing the scars on the forearm. Jace, I'd like you to also make a strength and resolve check to assist pulling him the rest of the way out.
Reverie still for this one?
Reverie still in effect, yep.
That's 4 on a strength roll.
Okay. You grasp onto his hand, and even though there is a resistance trying to pull you down, gathering up all your might, you pull upwards, and Isidoro breaches the surface, pulling off onto the ground on the shoreline of the mire.
Izzy just starts coughing up, I assume, black water.
It feels like it, yeah. And as you assume that, that's what it becomes as it emerges outward.
Oh.
Yep, let it out.
Simultaneously, the shore or the surface breaks again, and Deliza rises out of the mire, looking towards Jester, crawling, reaching, clawing herself along, trying to get to where Jester is on the shore, but she's pretty far in to the mire. What do you wish to do?
Does she? Okay, so she looks like she's struggling.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take a rope from my side that has been there the whole time. Part of the stuff we brought with us. That's gonna be part of the narrative now, and I'm gonna throw it out.
All right, give me a dexterity and performance storytelling as you try to add to the narrative this object to manifest it.
Five successes.
As you reach down, your hand grabs purchase on something that clearly wasn't there before, but also has been there the whole time. And uncoiling the rope, you toss it outwards, and you toss it so perfectly that it lands right within Eliza's reach. She grasps onto the rope, curling it around her forearm, pulling up to reach with the other hand to grasp hand over hand, and starts to pull herself forward towards the shoreline. Give me a strength and resolve to try and assist her in getting out.
Seven successes.
7 successes will do it. You down the rope as knowing that it's coiled around her arm and drag her from the mire onto the shoreline. It's breathing heavily, her chest rising and falling as she... Jester. Aspen. Jace, she says with a smile. And Isidoro.
Are you good?
I'm here. Though I'm sure it wishes I wasn't. I'm here.
I'm gonna kneel down and hug her.
As you pull her into your arms, you know you are safe. You know you are where you need to be. But again, something shifts. It does not arrive. It is simply there, standing where your attention rests, just above the mire, almost floating on the mire's surface. Tall, still, draped in fragments of stories that shift and rewrite themselves across its form, pages, voices, memories, none of them entirely whole. Its face is smooth, featureless almost, as if it were a mask or something completely constructed. Not grown, but constructed. Until you try to look directly at it. Aspen. The face that the story thief takes is that of your lost colleague, your lost teacher, your lost mentor. What was her name again? It was...
Rachel.
Rachel. Jester. The face shifts into that of your mother. Still looking as sickly and befuddled, bewildered as she was when last you knew her, last you truly saw her. Jace. The short hair, the wily and feminine physique. Olivia. And for Izzy, Charles. Blonde hair, the trim, expensive suit, and the look of nothing. Stoic, still, passionless, careless. Feeling nothing, especially for you. Its voice is calm, gentle, certain, as they speak in the varying tones that you remember. You mistake me for something cruel. It tilts its head slightly as though considering you. I do not destroy stories. The air tightens. I decide which ones are worth keeping. Around it, the world flickers, details fading, returning, shifting, as though reality itself is awaiting revision. Ravi's demeanor changes once more, his humor thinning. He steps slightly in front of the pack, not protectively, but knowingly. Ah, he says softly. You again. The story thief responds, you keep telling stories that should have ended. Ravi smiles faintly, and you keep trying to end stories that haven't finished. At this moment, they look to you, seemingly directly, individually, even though that doesn't quite make sense. But they speak directly to you. First, Aspen as Rachel. If only you hadn't come here. If only you hadn't changed. I'd still be alive. I'd still be doing good for people in need. I'd still be fighting the fight that needs to be fought against corporations, against pollution, against the destruction. But it can't be. It won't be. You ended that story. What do you do?
She goes to speak, her voice wavering, and not knowing what to say, she just grabs Jester's hand.
I will squeeze Aspen's hand.
Aspen, give me a composure and resolve. Plus reverie, of course. You don't have any reverie, so I guess it's irrelevant.
Do I get one for the crit from before?
Yes. You know what? Yes.
Okay.
Can I assist since she's squeezing my hand?
You know what? Yeah. Yes, you can. I will give the assistant's die on that one. Even if you are distracted with your own vision, just that contact, your nature is to embrace, protect, hold. What'd you get? 4. Okay. You know that's not true. She would never blame you. She knew the risks that a fight like hers took. She was never head in the clouds. She was grounded. She knew she was making enemies left and right, challenging corporations to institute green initiatives. And if anything, you carry on the work. You make sure that she won't be forgotten. Because that's what this is about, isn't it? That's what it says. It ends stories. You won't let this story end. Especially not here. Jester, your mother looks to you. Not worth saving, but you already knew that, didn't you? I'm never gonna get better. You can just write me off. You were ready to. You're still ready to. You're only doing it because you were told to. Not because you want to. You care because a spirit that you care more about told you to. Why bother? Just let me go. Let me drown myself. It's the only place I'm gonna find peace. And you can move on. And I can be a faded memory.
You don't understand either. All I ever wanted to do was save my mother. But you're not her. You're something pretending to be her to distract us.
Give me a manipulation and intimidation plus reverie.
Uh, 4 successes.
You're right. The things it's saying, while you may have felt them at times in your life, that she wasn't able to be helped, that she made your life worse and worse and worse by the bad decisions she made, by the booze and the irresponsibility. But you may not have forgiven her for it, but it was important nonetheless. She is important nonetheless because she's just a victim of a world full of evil. Banes, You know beyond the veil that there are so many influencing factors that you couldn't have considered as a child, that you couldn't have known growing up. You know now. And you know she is in very real danger right now. In that rehab facility owned by Edward Bateman. You know you can save her. You know you will save her. Because even if she couldn't save you from those terrible and abusive men that made their way through your life, even though she couldn't save you from a rough childhood, it's not too late. Because if it was, what's the point? What's the point in fighting for Gaia? What's the point in trying to save that relationship? What's the point in anything? You have to know it's not too late. You have to. Jace. Hello, brother. Part of me is glad you weren't there. But a part of me wishes you were. So that we could have gone down together. Blaze of glory and all that. I was so alone. Everything was falling apart in front of my eyes. They were taken one by one, torn to shreds. They swallowed us up, devoured us, and destroyed us. And I'm afraid that they're gonna destroy you too. Because they can't be stopped. They're coming and they can't be stopped, and I don't know how to end this. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know how to prevent it. I don't know what to do. And I can't do anything anymore.
He'll take a moment. You say her words really well. But something about her is also the fact that she wouldn't try and put that onto me. She wouldn't try and make me feel sad. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed. As a story thief from a former thief, you should know your marks better. You try to end stories, but ours are far from over. I expected more.
But my story will be over soon.
It'll live on through the tales. We have ways of making that happen.
Give me a... Let's go with manipulation and resolve. With, obviously, reverie.
Let's spend a will.
Yeah.
That's 4 with a crit.
You're right. They got it all wrong. Olivia never blamed. She narrated. She was good with words. She could beautify some. But she usually drew from fact. She knew the story. And she wouldn't let a story be stolen. She wouldn't let a story be rewritten. She wouldn't let anyone mess with her art. And this is her art. Probably why she never went Hollywood, to be honest, with the way they alter scripts and rewrite them and shove their own narrative in there. Taking out the important parts and leaving whatever the mass market will eat up and pay for. No, her stories had a message. And her message consistently was never give up. Never stop. No matter what it takes. Because you are more powerful than you know. As an individual, as a collective, as a voice, as a thought, as a movement, you are strong. You can win. Izzy. Charles looks you up and down. I don't even have to say it, you know. You could never be me. And they died because of you, not me. I got out before the ship sank. You just broke open the holes to cause it to sink faster. I'm bound for glorious things, a purpose, a crown. You are bound for a meaningless death in a meaningless fight because you don't have what it takes to be remembered.
Either you were very quick in getting here, or I don't think you're quite Charles. It's a bit strange hearing that. The words I thought he would say to me when I first showed up at the Sept of the Evening Star. But now... now I see Charles in a light that I don't even think you can comprehend, whatever you are. I don't have to be him, child of destiny or whatever. I have my own strengths. And while I may not be able to beat him, I get the feeling I can beat you. So, be a kind little thing, and either put up your claws or get the fuck out of our way.
I'll give you a choice on your roll. You can do manipulation and intimidation, or you can do wits and resolve. Because you are aware of yourself and what has occurred enough to stand strong against this, or you can bite back, which you also are capable of doing quite nicely with those words.
Yeah, I think Wits and Resolve is sort of carrying him right now. That -2 is no longer applying, right?
It is gone.
Because we're out of them. Okay.
Yep.
+1 from the thingy. 4.
4. Was this manipulation and intimidation, or was it wits and resolve that you rolled?
Wits and Resolve.
Okay.
Wits and Resolve.
The old Charles might have said something like this, or at least what you thought the old Charles was. But wasn't that just a story you told yourself to make yourself feel better, to make him the enemy, to make it not your fault? Seeing him in this new light, knowing that he cared the whole time, he just didn't know how to show it. That he wanted to say goodbye, but didn't. That he was following orders because that's just all he knew. That he's changed. He's gotten better. He's willing and eager to give you what you've wanted, what apparently was always there, his respect, his care, his concern. He called you brother. This is definitely not him. This is a shadow of what you made him to be. And this thing is exploiting you, and you're damn right you can beat it. Because all it has is nightmares and fears, worries and doubts. You have something much stronger. You have a pack. You have Unicorn. You have Gaia. And you have yourself, which is worth far more than anyone could make you feel. Immediately, the figure takes back, and the images, the illusions of these different people fade away, and the mask reforms, the face reforms as it sinks into the mire, dissipating. At this point, the dreaming opens into something vast, endless. A dark ocean stretches in every direction, its surface unmoving, reflecting a sky filled with slow drifting constellations that don't match any you've ever known. And there, drifting, sleeping, is Turtle. Colossal beyond comprehension, its shell is not just a shell, it is a map, a memory, a world unto itself. Continents etched in fading lines, symbols worn thin, stories cracked and peeling like old paint. With each slow breath it takes, pieces of it dim. But they're not dying. They're being forgotten. The water around it is still, too still, as though the entire dreaming is waiting to see if it will ever wake again. You stand on the shoreline, looking at this massive being of stability and home and creation and defense. Defense, not attack, defend. Too long has the nation been focused on attacking the problem. So focused on attack that it protected nothing. It threw legions at a problem that just kept destroying, doing what it does, eating away. The guru, the numbers, the hope. With no one to defend, how could you ever win? With no shield to protect, how could you ever rest? With no home, what are you even fighting for? For others who will inevitably be eaten away as well, whether it's by the passage of time or by the forces working against you. Home is where the heart is, and that can be a person, that can be a place, that can be a thing. But home is also a concept. A very real concept, not just for yourselves individually, but for everyone. Good, bad, and evil alike. And for eons, generations, you've been without a home, whether you believe it or not. And what you think of as home has been dying. For Turtle is more than just a representation of tribe or a memory or a story. It is in its purest form the most direct representation of Earth, of Gaia, of safety and security. One that you didn't even know at times that you were lacking, but now upon this journey have realized how many times you've felt weak, how many times you felt alone, how many times you felt scared or in danger. But here it sits, unstirring, asleep, forgotten. What do you do?
Izzy is just gobsmacked. He doesn't have a quip, a witty line. He's just staring up at the gargantuanness of this totem spirit.
Aspen lets go of Jester's hand and smiles at her knowingly and just steps back towards Izzy.
I'm going to rub. I'm still holding on to Eliza, or was still had a hand over Eliza and rub her back gently as I stand up, giving Aspen a return smile. Looking between Jace and Ravi. So, if this is a story, and he's being erased, how do we make sure the story isn't forgotten?
Before you can answer, everything falls away. The forest, the sky, the ground. Only the pack, the turtle, and the story thief remain. The story thief no longer has a form. It is just a voice everywhere, nowhere.
This is your moment.
It says, almost kindly,
Convince me.
the turtle does not stir. The silence presses in, waiting for someone to speak first. So this is how this is going to work. All four of you have to find some way to convince the story thief to let this not be the end of the story. And based off of all of your roles that are associated with those arguments, I have a target difficulty of combined successes, and that target difficulty is 10. So make your arguments. One at a time, in whatever order you choose. You could debate. You could change the narrative. You could just simply ask and hope that they have some sort of notion or feeling or compassion in them to allow it. But what would you as an individual do in a moment such as this?
If the story is being forgotten, I would start with how we got here, or how Turtle got here, so to speak. And I'll tell a story.
So tell it.
Once long ago, there were 3 brothers that roamed this land. The eldest, the middle, and the youngest. And while they held each other in the highest regard, with great love, they would fight as brothers often do. One such quarrel raged for many days and nights, left its mark upon the three of Gaia's children forever. As Luna's light shone full upon the face of Gaia, the three brothers gathered up the top of the highest mountain and in a new made world to pay their respects. Here they spoke of their exploits and accomplishments. The eldest spoke of the river depths and the secrets he'd uncovered there. The middle brother spoke of hearing Gaia's words and the voices of her lesser creatures. From the calling of birds and the soft songs of the turtles, watching the humans as they tend to their herds and plant their fields. And the youngest and most impulsive brother, barely willing to wait his turn, boasted how he bested his brothers in racing the icy northern wind and stalking the great steer of the tundra, how he battled the dark spirits that feasted upon their death cries. Of course, such talk led to arguing, and in turn led to fighting. As the three fell into their warrior forms, half man, half wolf, they battled one another with fang and claw for many days and many nights. Finally, the middle brother broke off from the fight and called to the end of the conflict. He beseeched his brothers they stop wasting their time and let the spirits decide. And so it was agreed. The three brothers would make preparations to enter the spirit world, where they would take a journey and allow the spirits to test them and decide which of them had served Gaia best. The oldest brother found a stream, cold, clear water, and bathed himself in it, washing away any trace of impurity to deter him from achieving his purpose. He thought sometimes how he grew impatient with his middle brother's gentle ways and his younger brother's rash behavior, and he let the water flow over him, and he gave his impatience to the river to carry it away. The middle brother found a valley where the earth was rich, soft, and where he stretched his body out along the ground and placed his ear to the earth so he could hear the steady beating of the earth's heart. He thought the envy of the eldest brother and the vast knowledge and his younger brother's excellence in battle. With each heartbeat, the middle brother let his envy drain and sink into the ground. The youngest brother raced swiftly as he could until he came to the icy land where the great snowstorm raged, turning the air around him white with fury. He thought of how often he grew angry with his eldest brother's superior ways and his middle brother's insistence of the reason rather than action. As the storm pelted him with its fury, he released his anger into the storm and cast it out from him. The three brothers then came together once more and journeyed into the spirit world together. Here they encountered several trials. The youngest brother rushed in headlong to face them regardless of the consequence. The eldest brother always sought the clever solution to every problem, as he was most shrewd among them, and the middle brother, who was often the peacemaker of the three, sought the most honorable solution. Once they stood victorious, their tests completed, they witnessed a vision of a great darkness sweeping over the land, consuming all in its path. Each brother responded as according to their nature when asked what they would do. The little brother vowed to destroy it, the elder brother vowed to study and learn how to defeat it, and the middle brother vowed to do all in its power and sacrifice anything to stop it. Once the vision ended, they were greeted by Gaia, this Mother Nature herself. She praised all the brothers for the deeds, for they had all earned equal renown, the elder brother receiving it in wisdom, the youngest in glory, and the middle brother in honor. But when she presented the middle brother with the honor, she wept, and he asked why she wept. And she warned him that he should never mistake the pride for honor. And you see, that's what we're here for, because the Croatan and Turtle didn't ask for the help of his brothers. They just chose to sacrifice themselves out of pride that they would do it first. And so that's how that story ended, but that doesn't mean Turtle's story ends. turtle story can continue so that we can all be reunited again and learn from that mistake of valuing pride over honor and not accepting help.
Why shouldn't it end? Actions have consequences. They chose sacrifice, they chose pride.
And the consequence that was paid was Turtle has been gone for a long time. We've
So
lost.
why come back? Why now?
Because even though actions have consequences, they don't have to be forever. And those consequences should be a learning tool, not a final decision or a punishment. Mistakes should be learned from.
Those words hang in the air before falling silent once more, making room for the next. I will save the roles until everybody has spoken.
Jace will kind of step forward. Does Turtle look in pain at all?
I would say they look very passive.
Okay.
Drained but passive. Sleeping.
You can tell me no, but would mind speak work? Because I can see Turtle. Would I be able to connect to Turtle's mind?
You can attempt to.
Okay.
Now, all gifts in the dreaming cost an extra willpower.
Yep.
So if you wish to spend it and to make the attempt, you can.
And give it a whirl. Does Reverie go into this gift, or is it just the dice pool?
I'll allow it for this purpose.
I got a brutal. I'm trying to look at my adverbs and verbs. Can I argue ritualistically infiltrating their mind?
That's a very interesting argument because ritualistically, obviously. But the infiltration is where I would normally get stuck because you're not looking to harm them. You're not looking to break them or get past them. But you are trying to get past the story thief. So I will allow it.
So that would be 8 then.
Okay. As you focus on Turtle, pushing out the influence of the story thief, pushing out all of this forgetfulness,
Sorry if I'm waking you. You probably don't know, but I know who you are. I'm Jason Thorne. I'm a Theurge of the Bonar. and you have been lost for a very, very long time. And this place has kept you here. And everything here is based on a story, a narrative, and I have this suspicion that if you don't change your end of it, if you don't adjust the narrative you have, you're going to be here for even longer. You are Turtle. You are a greater spirit of the Croatan, a people who are renowned for creating some of the greatest cairns, these places of power where people gather, and you bestow these powers on them. You give them guidance, you protect. There was a story that was just told of you being a middle brother to others, an older and a younger. You are someone the world needs, and you have been gone for far too long.
Okay, we'll come back to that. But that was a clever idea. Aspen?
Aspen will step forward closer to Jester, smiling at her after her story. I've never been good at telling stories. Been told a lot. I've read a lot. Most importantly, I've seen a lot of them. Seen people fight adversity, even from childhood, almost get lost in the darkness and claw their way back out to fight again. I've seen people lose everything they've had before and decide that them being here meant that their memories would move along. Some people who have blamed others for their stories became back stronger and have started writing their own stories now. I've heard stories of a silver crown that would change everything. I've heard stories of a broken nation and how a fight isn't meant to be fought. I've seen stories end far before I'd like them to. But I think this story has a few more chapters. And this story is one that needs to continue to be told.
Why? Why not just let it end? All things end. All things must end. Or they just go on and on, losing the narrative, losing the purpose, becoming meaningless. What difference will this one make? Why not let it die?
There's a lot of stories that should end and do end, and some stories that should have kept going that didn't. But this is a story that people want to hear and that people need to hear, because stories give different lessons. And this is one of hope. And if it dies here, hope dies here too.
Okay. Those words hang before falling silent.
Izzy, realizing he's more or less the last to speak, steps forward to this story stealer and tries to open with a bravado, a mighty boast, the Arun in him crying out to threaten it to let Turtle go, to let us go home with our prize. And then the thoughts creep in of how many times has he heard stories of the Garu try just that? Just bluster and claw and strength, anger. And Unicorn's colorful vision creeps into the corner of his eye as he looks down at his own feet and tries to live up to that expectation and entreat with the spirit directly, as much as it can be said to be a spirit. I take it you're not going to hold it against me when I told you to get the fuck out of our way, right?
I expected nothing less.
That's good. Because we kind of need Turtle. Well, the world needs Turtle. And I'm honestly interested in why you're clawing so hard to keep it.
I'm not clawing at anything. The world has forgotten him. This is just the natural course of forgetting.
But the world hasn't, though. We're here. And we're remembering, right? And we definitely have told people, I know at least Jason has told a good half dozen people, right? Jason, you told more people about Turtle, right?
Yeah.
Jester?
How can you remember something you didn't truly know?
Well, that's the thing I kind of don't get about spirits. It doesn't seem to affect them that way. Like when one of us dies, we're more or less gone. We have stories to remember us, and we live on in that way, but the rage, the essence, that goes back to Gaia and comes out again. And I'm willing to bet Turtle's kind of the same way, so who's to say Turtle didn't already die? And this is a new Turtle, one that has borne its scars of sacrifice. And Kent, at this point, I don't know if it's applicable, but Izzy has the right of the sacred scar. And Turtle is a creature that has borne sacrifice. I'm willing to bet that there has to be an overlap here. I'm begging you.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there is an overlap, and I think that you can make the right roll as your roll for this. So, Jester, resolve and performance, storytelling. Aspen, resolve and persuasion. Jace, resolve and insight. And Izzy, whatever the roll for your right is.
So there's an additional cost for this roll.
Which is?
The recipient gives up 5 XP, which is just the amount of XP that Izzy currently has. Can I give it up in place of Turtle?
Yes.
Okay.
With the brutal to a crit did Reverie go up, or am I still at 2?
I would say you're solidly at 2.
Okay.
You would have gone down, but I'll allow it to go up.
Fair.
Izzy got a brutal.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is, Izzy, you're still going to lose the 5 XP, but your successes will not contribute to the total. Okay. With 16 successes, you have beaten the threshold of 10.
You would continue this story. You would see Turtle returned. That is your wish. So shall it be. But a story must end. To return what is forgotten comes as no easy price. What story should end in its place? For this was a sacrifice freely given by choice. It was not forced, it was not coerced. Turtle chose this fate. So I need you to choose. Something must end for balance to continue.
Izzy will look back to the pack and shrug and go, "Do you think we could say that this adventure counts?"
That is a part of the greater story.
Well, I'm not the smart one.
Any story?
One of value.
Because I know a few people's story that should probably end at this point.
This was a sacrifice taken on themselves, not a sacrifice forced on another.
Fine.
I like where your head's at, though. Look over towards Aspen. What do you think, boss?
I think it's unfortunate. She'll kind of like look to the space above her because it is everywhere and nowhere. Us sacrificing a story sacrifices somebody else's stories as well. So the moment we sacrifice something, we're sacrificing it for somebody else. And by his words alone, we can't sacrifice somebody else's story.
Not necessarily true.
Ravi looks towards Izzy, then Jace, then Aspen, and then Jester. Sometimes the story is the story we tell ourselves, not the true story. Our narrative of events is a story unto itself, aside from the events that occurred.
I'm gonna look at Ravi, then bring back the two memories I have. Okay, I've got something. I have 2 stories of Ravi's existence, his current one. I'd like to sacrifice the one where he died.
That sacrifice has already occurred.
Well, I'm still remembering, so
It cannot mess with the forces of your reality, and in time, that story will likely fade also. As it is overwritten.
I have a thought. Could change a lot of things, but we decide to leave places better than how we found them, right?
yes.
Yeah.
What if we rewrite the story of the cairn, the old one?
You'll look towards the story thief. Well, I guess that guy has the final say, but I like that.
I like it too.
I was not aware there was an old cairn. So,
I know we have a lot of things to catch you up on.
We're a very story-rich sept.
I'm not sure you're completely aware of the consequences that would come from that. That story upset the spirits. The upset spirits brought dreams and decay to Florida.
Aspen gets really frustrated at this point. Then you tell me, all-knowing storyteller, what is a worthy story to be sacrificed? Because again, they all have consequences that we have no idea the ramifications of.
It is a perfectly worthy story. If that is the one you wish to sacrifice, you may do so. I'm just telling you of the potential implications of that sacrifice. Not judging, not deciding. Just making sure you're fully aware how the story ends.
At least he's nicer than the last one. They didn't even tell us we were fully aware.
I really thought I was gonna like it here. I was
Yeah.
very heavily mistaken.
I'm gonna look into Eliza, who's been quiet. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I know plenty of stories that should end, but those stories that, if forgotten, change who we are. Every moment shaped us to this moment. Every moment brought us here. And not knowing the effects of what sacrificing and erasing would do, I'm as lost as you are on this one. This is not in my wheelhouse.
Izzy will step forward. Okay. So it sounds like we're having a bit of an issue determining a worthy sacrifice. So, in lieu of someone bearing the burden as the new guy, I volunteer.
That's not going to happen, so let's use that brain to start thinking of something else.
You're asking the Arun to use their brain?
Yep,
I
she's
thought-
asking you to step out of your comfort zone.
You can be something more than just a worthy sacrifice.
The issue is, what else are we going to sacrifice here?
Last time I sacrificed something, it had large ramifications.
Yeah, I imagine it would.
Eliza looks towards Jace, but there was also good that came from it.
He'll look to the pack and then to Eliza. The oath I swore, if we did go with the original Karen being brought back, I swore that oath before Gaia and all of you and all those spirits present. I'd still be bound to that place regardless of what happened, right?
So did Turtle. And yet here they are. What did you have in mind, Isidoro?
It has to be something big. I mean, we're getting Turtle back, right?
We are rewriting what we know about spirits and tribes, and we don't know what the ramifications are going to be of bringing Turtle back either, good or bad.
Izzy will look to the story stealer. So would it be my whole life or a part of it?
A life is made up of many stories. No one story tells the story of a life.
Just double checking.
Why don't we all just sacrifice a story? That way, not one person does bear the burden, but it doesn't have to be all the same story.
Choose this course of action could lessen the impact. The memory of a face, or a place, or an event. Or a name. But keep in mind, it will be ended. It cannot be brought back, it cannot be reminded. It's as if it never happened.
I got two in mind.
She looks to Jester. It's a pretty big one.
What, the one you have?
Yeah. Could really go for more than just us.
Which one?
Aiden.
That's huge.
I think it's enough for all of us.
We lose Aiden.
We lose his memory.
But that's what he is now.
He'd want that.
Why do we have to sacrifice his memory after he sacrificed himself?
Because it has to mean something.
If it doesn't, if we don't remember.
But he'll know.
We won't.
I know.
Will he exist after that?
I don't know. I don't know what it all means.
It has to be something else.
I can't think of anything bigger. It's the only thing I can think of. And I really do think he'd want to help one more time.
Izzy will step over next to Jason and with a very gentle shoulder check go. Well, we already gave one memory apiece, right? In for a penny?
Yeah.
She just continues to stare at Jester.
She's just shaking her head at the moment, unable to actually say to nod or say yes. Running it around in her head because
I can't.
stories are how our dead live on, and sacrificing Aiden is completely sacrificing him.
I can't make this choice without you again.
I don't know if I can't make that choice. Look desperately to Izzy and Jason, hoping they have something.
Like I said, I got two. One big, one small. And at the word small, you can see he really bites at his own lip when he says it.
I got a few.
Aspen, you're the head of this pack. If you don't want to sacrifice this Aiden, which I never met him, I only heard from Terrence that Aiden meant a lot to him. You just say the word. Jason and I will probably shoulder what we can.
We got it.
Look desperately to Aspen. Trust them. Not Aiden.
I don't know if it'll be enough, but we could try.
Let's try. Let's not do it again, because there's so many people that remember Aiden. I don't want them to forget him.
There's so many people that were saved because of turtle sacrifice too.
I know. But let's try something else first.
Okay.
Step forward. Give you the
Izzy
story
Johnson.
of how I got my name, Dreams in Decay. There was a bane, pretty big one, at an old factory, causing a lot of issues in the surrounding. The night before we went on the strike, Lula and I went and scouted the area out, trying to figure out the best course to take care of this. There was more than just that one that was there. There so many. And we couldn't find a way in. And we went back to the pack and told Denton. He said we would find it, figure it out once we got there. That night I had a dream of what would happen if we failed. That this bane would keep spreading and spreading. But in that nightmare of that rot, There was an area in which the Bane had not touched the western part of the fence. Way in behind where I could enter the Umbra and able to get them in. The following day, we went to that old factory. The gauntlet was so weak there. I was able to just perform what I needed to do and get them in. After we had cleansed that entire area and sent that Bane back, Olivia at that point had given me the name Dreams and Decay. But this wasn't the first time I'd had dreams where they had shown ways to get past corruption and rot to have a better outcome. And from that point, I was known within the echoing roots as Dreams and Decay, and to this pack as Dreams and Decay. And I'm willing to give up the knowledge of that name.
And the name?
A large sacrifice requires another large one. Giving up the namesake, the deed name behind it. The story is one thing, but the name is what holds the merit to it. And if that means that the slate is that much cleaner than the story and the name.
This is acceptable.
You see it reaches down to one of the pages that adorn its form. And it's like a quill floating from its hand goes down, and the name Dreams and Decay is written on one of the pages. And then he plucks the page from himself. Are you certain?
I am.
Then as he releases it onto the wind, it deteriorates, breaking apart into pieces. And the memory, all of the memories you all have of every time you called him Dreams and Decay, every time he was referred to as Dreams and Decay, grow hazy and fade as the paper shrivels and breaks apart. That memory, that event that earned that name goes with it. You are now just Jason Thorne. At that point, Story Thief nods, and it too starts to just break apart, moving down from the bottom all the way up to the mask or the face, which breaks apart with it. And at this point, Turtle's eyes blink open, and it takes a huge breath in. And in a flash, you find yourselves back at the cairn. The dreaming is an interesting place because it messes with time and space, our notion of how things are and how things should be. Things have indeed changed in Tampa, in the cairn. As you arrive, it is almost unfamiliar to you. Why, you ask? Because instead of weeds and dead, decaying grass in the clearing, it is lush, fertile, filled with a sea of green, as rich and as deep as green can be. The trees are budded with the most brilliant of leaves. And in the clearing are spirits, so many spirits. Surrounding Turtle in the center of the clearing. All of the spirits have taken a knee surrounding him. He looks towards all of you and says,
Thank you. I had forgotten myself, but I will not forget this kindness. And I will not forget your sacrifice.
as he says the word sacrifice, all of you are scrambling to try and figure out what that was, what it is, what happened, what was lost. Question, unfortunately, you'll never be able to answer, because there is no one who remembers that name, no one who remembers those events, even those who were there and may still be alive. Dreams and Decay has done as it promised and decayed. As Turtle bows its head to all of you, it almost merges with the ground, leaving a large rocky outcropping in the center of the clearing. And its voice echoes through your head.
I will be here. I will defend. I will honor.
As that happens, your minds are filled with knowledge, power, with memory. To Jester, you learn the gift of mind speak, a gift used by many, but also of the Croatan. To Aspen, you learn the gift of turtle shell, a gift of defense, not just for yourself, but others. To Jason Thorne, you learn Call Earth Spirit, a gift that will allow you to usher forth the earth itself to defend. And to Isidoro, you are offered two gifts. Howl of Assembly and Turtle Body, which will help make you more resolute and strong. There are many ways to be grateful, to give thanks. What better way than to share a part of yourself and to welcome you into a family that goes beyond tribe, that goes beyond renown, that goes back to the very origins of this place, that goes back to three brothers who shared a burden rather than one. This is where our story comes to a close this evening, but not without one last scene. It's not that far away, in fact. It's in this lush and rich cairn full of power and might. The pack standing nearby, taking in all that's occurred, all that's been. And that's when Charles arrives and approaches the pack and says, I have something to tell you. And it's not good. And this is where the story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Episode 100 is in the books, but would you believe it that we have more to do and more to say? This story is going to roll on past episode 100, and who knows, depending on how things go, maybe we'll hit episode 200. But you should go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below and sign up for our Ko-fi, where you can get all of the fun behind the scenes material that we offer, including RBTs for all 3 of our programs, early access to artwork, including a new piece of art that just dropped today. So for as low as $5 a month, get all kinds of extras. So go sign up for the Ko-fi immediately. This week, we have a new episode of Hellhounds on Friday, a new episode of our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Red Tide Rising on Sunday. All of them a part of this greater Tampa verse. But for these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
With the path, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production, produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. Visit our website at stpetebynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening, and until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.